What's up, guys? Got another Alliance War video. Last time I posted an Alliance War video, it said this is my final Alliance War video. And that was not true. It was true at the time. Things change. You know the drill. Alright, I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I'm capable, which is not very brief, so brace yourselves. We are up against GT40. This is Season 33, War number 1. I was not in a competitive alliance last season. So this will be my first season against Unstoppable Armor Global, and I've got several fights with defenders that benefit from that global. GT40 finished first last season for the third consecutive season. For Loki finished second last season for the first time in its history, and For Loki and GT40 split their season series last season 1-1. So For Loki won the first matchup, GT40 won the second matchup. And that was GT40's only loss of last season, was against For Loki. So, anyway, I think it's totally fine and pretty exciting, honestly, that we're facing GT40 to start the season. And I knew that they would probably be pretty focused up to try to smack us around this war because we were their only loss last season. So, here we go. We are doing a little bit different format, too. I'm actually just live recording myself reacting to the videos that are on my phone. This is what some other YouTubers do, and it just seems a little bit more interactive, which is what I want to do. I can pause, fast forward, slow it down, rewind, all that stuff without having to do editing stuff. So I'm going to pop into each of my fights here just to show you, but we'll talk more about them when we get there. We've got Void here on Schadenfreude. We've got Silver Surfer on Indestructible at 1 bar of power. Blood in the Water, we've got Kitty Pryde here. The next fight for me is this Sasquatch, and this is a rank 4 Sasquatch. Absolute nutcase, whoever, Alex Vasilini, Mr. Vaseline over there. Rank 4 Sasquatch, good for you, man. Happy for you. Dr. Doom, that's a rank 4, of course. He makes sense. Bishop, that's a rank 3. Love Bishop. And then Black Panther, Civil War. I have heard that he is he's pretty problematic with this global. It makes sense with his armor and how it applies and all that stuff. So we will get to all the strategy and all that stuff when we hop into the fights. But I am bringing my rank 4 CGR. I ranked this dude up on stream when I finished 7.4 Exploration. Of course, rank 4 Apocalypse, and then I've got my rank 3 White Mags. He's not going to take any fights, but I did waffle a little bit. There were the bands. We've got Quake, Herc, and Ghost. I waffled a little bit on who to rank 4. It was between him and Hercules, of course. Hercules gets banned all the time. That was a huge factor. He also requires a little bit of ramp up to do anywhere near the damage that CGR can do, and then the other factor was I duped CGR, I awakened CGR, I had both of them at rank 3 on Awakened. I awakened CGR through one of my Nexuses, and I wanted to save that, that generic. So we went with the other factor, probably the biggest factor, honestly, is a little bit of diversity. I like roster diversity. As a former war planner and BG leader, roster diversity matters. It's great for a battle group. And everybody's got rank 4 Herculeses. Nobody has a rank 4 CGR. So that was the deciding factor. All right. So this first node here is Schadenfreude and Hazard Chip, Incinerate Poison. All right, I'm going to pause it just to yap at you for just a second, okay? All right, so Void is placed here every single war. And it's because if the attacker has any debuff on them whatsoever, the defender gains a 480% Fury passive. So what that means is basically, if you have a debuff on you against Void, then his debuff damage is going to be inflated by that passive Fury. And if you make a mistake while he has that Fury active, he will combo you to death because his attack is so massively inflated. Double immunes here are the safest options, I would say, and the best double immunes, really the only double immunes that I can think of for Void specifically. I guess there are 3 of them. There's Iceman, nobody uses him in war. would be Penny Parker and Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom is one of the slower champs, and Penny Parker gets a lot of her damage from her SB2, which incinerates. Obviously, Void is Incinerate immune, so both of those options are a little bit slower. And again, you would have to, even with those options, you would have to manage your combo to ensure that you don't allow a Void debuff to be placed on you. So they're a little bit tricky. They're just dangerous. Champs like Rolk and Angela with a bunch of buffs can work, but they're pretty dangerous because Rolk is not actually immune to either poison or incinerate. He just converts them into heat charges, but they still apply for a brief second. And when they apply, Void is going to still get that passive fury. So that it still activates the node, and that fury doesn't go away when the debuffs go away. So it'll just stay there on a timer. I can't remember. I think it's 8 or 9 seconds. But then it refreshes itself if a new debuff is applied. So you basically cannot make any mistakes if you're using Rolk or Angela. If you get comboed, you'll die instantly because of his attack. Another option, my favorite option, is Cosmic Ghost Rider, whether it's a rank 3. I think a rank 2 could do this, honestly. Obviously, mine is rank 4. And he's Incinerate immune, not Poison immune, but you can kill this guy or put yourself in a position to kill this guy in the first 9 seconds, which is during the Incinerate phase. So I'm going to talk about my boosts. I know a lot of people that use CGR talk about the best rotation to get into an SP2 would be parry heavy for the aptitude, parry lightning combo for the power gain, and then parry medium ender for the vigilance. That'll give you 3. Here, I better pause it actually. Oh shit. That'll give you 3 judgments, and then when you activate your SP2, that'll trigger precision and cruelty. That'll get you the 5 judgments, so that fate seals him if CGR is awakened. And then you'll just do that huge damage if you're using power back boost like you should in competitive war. Then you'll shoot up right back to an SP2 or an SP3. Now that is great. That is a great strategy anywhere other than this node. It's too slow on this node because you can't do that full rotation in that first 9 seconds. And if you do, it will switch over to the poison phase while you're throwing your SP2. And if that happens, even if they're non-contact hits like their energy hits, you will still get poisoned on this node, and then you're just going to start melting from Void. So what you need to do is kill this guy as quickly as possible. So what I'm going to do, I tested this in the off season, is I'm going to use a Power Start 1 boost. All right, and the safest way to do this fight, you'll just have to trust me, I don't even do it in this one, but the safest way to do this fight is PS1, just parry, light ending combo, parry, SP2. Don't worry about your judgments or anything like that. And then, again, with power back boost, you're just going to shoot right back up to an SP2 or an SP3. Throw that with all the armor breaks from your first SP2, he's going to die. We actually had somebody in another battle group take this exact same matchup, did not use that strategy. They tried to do the regular CGR rotation. They died because it took too long, and they got melted from the debuffs. That actually spooked me a little bit, so what I did here is I did start out with a heavy. Now again, I swear to God, I did this in the offseason. You don't need to do that, but I'm going to do heavy, then I'm going to do light attack, or light ender, then we're throwing the SP2. There you guys can see the phase. All right, I've got a couple poisons on me, but we're at the SP3, and he's done. He did. So, very fast fight. I'm pretty sure that you can actually literally kill him in under 10 seconds with a rank 3 or higher CGR if you just do PS1, parry, light ender, SP2, and then recycle another special. All right, now this fight I'm actually going to be using Apocalypse. Now there are a couple reasons here. The next fight is Kitty Pryde. Now I need to fight Kitty Pryde with Apocalypse, even though I think that CGR is a better and safer option there, because I need to get him built up for the Sasquatch fight, and I preferred to bring in White Magneto for a couple of my fights as opposed to Cable. And again, the Kitty fight, very easy for Apocalypse to handle anyway. But the reason that I'm taking Silver Surfer with Apocalypse here is because for that kitty fight, I want to be Incinerate immune. Because that has Blood in the Water, which is like a 280% Fury, and she can just start to hit really hard. So I wanted to avoid that part of that node entirely, and the best way to do that going into the fight is just to have Incinerate immunity already built up. So I'm going to fight Silver Surfer here with Apocalypse, unbuilt. Not an ideal fight here, but again, as long as you can fight Silver Surfer and you can mine the node, should be able to play around it. What I want to do, of course, is get that Incinerate immunity built up. So I'm just going to play him normally. I'm going to hit him until I get incinerated, and then I'm going to try to build that immunity. You just need to have the debuff on you for 8 seconds. You guys can see I do a couple hits here. It didn't trigger, so there we go. We get it to trigger. Now we're building immunity, but it's not going to last 8 seconds. So I'm going to have to do it again. And I'm not able to get another debuff on me before it switches over to poison. So now I've just got to wait this phase out because there's no way to build up poison immunity with Apocalypse. Alright, there's the phase switches. I'm able to build up the Incinerate immunity, and we're all set. Now, the mistake that I made in this fight was I used the Power Start 1 boost. And with the Power Back boost, when I push myself back up to an SP1, or over a bar of power, he gains that indestructible buff. So not ideal. So my damage is very gimped right now. And so I'm thinking in the fight, okay, what should my strategy be at this point? I can't just throw SP2s, because with the Power Back boosts, which are honestly an issue, this fight would have been so easy without the Power Back boosts. I would have had full damage on my SP2, it would have been fine. But I'm going to throw my SP3. Now, the SP3 is going to push me over a bar of power, but the SP3 itself will still do maximum damage. I'm just unbuilt, so it doesn't actually quite push me to back to a bar of power. Now he's got a bunch of buffs, and I know that he's going to go unblockable. And he's got that super long unblockable duration. Now, here I go for a parry, and you guys can see how many buffs are on this node. It's just a lot to keep track of. So I throw the SP1 just to give myself some space. It does some pretty good damage there. And I'm just trying to get it back up to the SP1, wait out the indestructible buff that he gets, and make sure that I'm in the Incinerate phase. And then I'll throw the SP1 again. And I'm just waiting for that poison phase to end. So there we go. We just got to wait this out, wait for our end there. We're going to rush in and immediately throw the SP1. No, we did a 3-hit combo. And we don't get it in before the phases change again. So you guys can see that there's just a lot of complicating factors. There's just a lot of layers to this fight with Apocalypse. And again, this is my decision to bring in Apocalypse for this fight. CGR would handle this. Once you do your first Judgment cycle, you get him Fate Sealed, and then that indestructible buff won't pop up. So your second SP2 with CGR, you can just completely nuke him. So CGR, I mean, I don't know, probably 20, 25 seconds here. But, the pain in the ass that this fight was, I think that was worth it to get the Incinerate immunity for the next fight. Even though it probably wouldn't have been a big deal if I didn't have it, it was just a comfort factor. So, look, Apocalypse Boosted is very tanky, which is good. The negative is when you come out of a fight with under 50% health, you're going to use a lot of potions, especially boosted. All right, so I used 3 potions there. And here we go for the kitty fight. When I enter this fight, I'm going to instantly gain 2 genetic codes since I'm fighting a mutant. So I will start this fight with 4 genetic code once I enter, which is awesome. That's going to be absolute maximum damage, and you guys are going to see what maximum damage with a rank 4 Apocalypse looks like. I know that you guys, if you're watching this video, you probably watched my fights from my previous season, season 31, and I use Apocalypse in almost every fight there. And his damage is really nutty at 4 genetic code. I also do have 1 point in recoil here, and I have the bleed suicides. So, yeah, the goal here is just to get to the SP2. I'm going to play her stun immune because I don't want to give her prowess. And I think I wait this phase out. Yeah, I was going to switch to poison. I decided to wait the phase out. But once it switches over to incinerate, I'm going to blast her with that SP2 and with the power back boost. This fight's going to be over. So here we go. Just waiting for her to come in. She rushes in at me. I'm able to intercept with my special. And that actually pushes me to an SP3. We can throw it. And that is game over for Kitty. I'll make you watch this. All right. Next fight. This is Sasquatch. Let's fast forward a little bit here. This one is tough. And you guys can see here, we got a rank 4. Mr. Vaseline here. Wow, that's what was the health pool on that? Let's just take another peek here. It's going too fast. All right, 265,000 for a non-mini island boss. So that's a lot of health, and we are placing guidance here just to help with the damage. The game plan here is the same as it's always been for Apocalypse since they changed this node. We're going to block, inflict disorient onto ourselves by taking those blocked hits. We'll gain disorient immunity after 8 seconds, but he'll just hit into our block pretty hard for those 8 seconds. Not a big deal. Wow, super professional. Not a big deal there. But yeah, so this fight, man, this fight does not go well. And, we'll talk about it when we get there. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the global definitely messed with me on this fight. I didn't play it very well to begin with, but I made 2 big mistakes in this fight, and I think both of them, if I recall correctly, both of them were kind of influenced by the global and just, not having that experience with the global. So here you guys can see the disorients. He is hitting pretty hard. Not a big deal. All I want to do is get to my SP2. Now I'm going to wait for an in. I'm kind of losing track of. I'm not sure which timer is the stun timer and the disorient timer. I guess it wouldn't matter because the stun reflect timer isn't up there clearly. But I was a little overwhelmed with my thoughts in this fight, so I just decided to block. I throw this into his block, and he gets to an SP3. Then the unstoppable armor triggers. Just a complete nightmare. I throw my SP1, fortunately, and it drops him down to 1% health. And I'm like, great, I'm done. I just rush in, just with a prayer. And fortunately, Stun Reflect was not active, or I would have gotten myself stunned there. Actually, I don't think Apocalypse would have stunned himself because he's got 4 code. But anyway, at the very least, I would have been punished and probably killed. If he throws that SP3, I'm sure that I'm dead. So really got very lucky there. All right, this fight I was also kind of worried about, but I insisted on using Apocalypse for this. There were some other options, and I was like, no, I got this. So we don't have an Odin pre-fight, but that's okay. Just going to parry for the first phase here, the shock phase. We are bleed immune, as you guys can see. So the next phase, bleed, is not going to really matter that much. I'm taking some pretty steep block damage here, but that's okay. Again, it doesn't matter. I just want to get to my SP2, and I'm hoping that I can just chain SP2s, and then I'll be good. Now, I do have to delay my attacks after I stun him because of when I open. Because of his crit resist, I do not get the damage back that I was hoping for. So now he's back in the shock phase, and I have to wait this out because I can't inflict shock on myself. He can then slap me like he does. I also don't want him to throw an SP1 because then he'll get aura and I can't throw my special. So there, I thought I had a reparry, but I accidentally blocked, then dexed instead of blocked, and then blocked again. I threw my heavy, he punished, and here I'm going to have to do like an 89% evade on the SP2. I blocked one of the hits of his last beam, and I knew that at that point, even with the shock phase, I would be fine to finish him off with my SP1. All right, and then this next fight here is a CGR fight, mercifully, because CGR is so fast. There's just, if it's a matchup that he's capable of and you know what you're doing with CGR, and I probably am going to jinx myself, but it is very hard to imagine losing a fight with him if you do it right and you don't mess up, because the fights are over in under 20 seconds. It's just so safe and fast. All right, so I don't know what I'm doing here, but we're not dealing with this. We're getting to the fight. All right, there. Of course, it starts going after I. All right, so here I am not going to use a power start 1. It's totally unnecessary in this fight. I'm not on like a ticking clock like I was against Void. So instead, I am just going to use the combat regen to offset some of the shock damage that I might take, because I'm not going to really worry about the shock phase. I'm just going to parry heavy, and then I'm going to do the light ender. So parry, heavy. I don't know why I backed off that first time. Parry, light ender, and then we're going to parry medium ender. We're going to throw it. That fate seals him. That's that little degen that you guys see. He's at 5 cosmic judgments. We're back up to the SP2, and we're just going to quickly backdraft and throw the SP2. I still had my precision buff active from the first SP2, so I didn't need to. I mean, you don't really have to worry about the precision buff as much as people talk about anyway, but yeah, I was not worried about triggering it there. All right, and then this fight. Now, after my last 2 Apocalypse fights and the global affecting the Sasquatch fight and how that kind of messed me up a little bit, I was pretty nervous about this, because this was a fight that I wasn't able to test in the off-season. I've never done this fight before. Sasquatch fight I've done before. Not with this global, that was the first time, but in Season Pass I've taken that many times with no issues. And then, so the concern with Black Panther is, with his abilities, he gains an armor at a 60% chance whenever he's hit. All right, so if you don't hit him, you don't have to worry about it. But whenever he's hit, he gains an armor at a 60% chance. Apocalypse is a great option in general for him, because he cannot stun reflect you. He can't. His reflective state doesn't purify your stun because of the purify ability accuracy reduction that Apocalypse has. So you don't have to worry about that. But then the other option, or the other issue, is with this global, anytime an armor is triggered, there is, I believe, a 30% chance for unstoppable passive to trigger from the global. So basically, we got a 60% chance when we punch this guy to trigger an armor, and that armor has a 30% chance to trigger the unstoppable global, which just means that I can't do full combos. Now, this node does have combat deja vu prowess, which means if you use the same basic attack twice, basic attacks are medium, light, and heavy attacks. If you use him twice in a row, then he'll gain a prowess, and then he'll just do a lot of damage with his special attacks. Either into your block, or if you don't block it, like an idiot. All right, so I was fearful of that, all that stuff, and so what I did here, just to give myself the best chance here, and it is a great matchup, by the way. I just mean just to give myself like the best setup here, is I maxed the Pacify Mastery 3 out of 3, which is going to reduce his ability accuracy by 30% while he is stunned. I've also got guidance there, which is going to increase my ability accuracy by 15%, and it's going to give us that passive 1-second stun. Now there I placed guidance. I didn't see the guidance icon, so I backed out. There it is, that little yellow diamond. Now I know that it's on there for sure. And we're going to go in and we're going to parry. We're going to get that guidance passive stun, so that's going to give us a full second to hit him. And then we're going to just medium light back off. His ability accuracy, again, is going to be reduced while he's stunned, whether it's passive or active, from the Pacify Mastery. So we are going to put ourselves in the best possible position here to not trigger those armors. All right, so parry, medium light, back off. That's it. Parry, medium light, back off. There I had an end because I missed a parry. We do have the armor, but again, we're reducing his ability accuracy when we trigger those armors. So even though they triggered, it lowered his chance to trigger the unstoppable passive, I believe, unless it's not affected by ability accuracy. And then what I want to do here is make sure that he throws his SP2. There he goes. I'm going to back off. I'm going to parry, throw one hit, and then I'm going to throw my SP2. That inflicts a concussion, so now we have an extra 30% ability accuracy reduction on him. There, the Unstoppable passive does trigger. I should have waited that out just to see if it was going to trigger. I didn't wait it out. I threw my SP2 right into his block. He countered. I did have the indestructible boost. None of this is a big deal. I'm just going to parry, throw my SP1, and the fight is over. And it worked out really well. So that is a very good option. That's, I think, probably the best option in the game for that specific placement with this global node. Really for that placement in general, I don't think that he would ever be placed on defense, at least on that node, without this global. But that is it. So that is it for the war. We did end up losing this war 6-8. However, we won our battle group, BG3, 1-2. So we had 1 death. We got 2 defensive kills. Lizer has, a lot of you guys know, has taken over the planning in BG3. She did an amazing job. She put out a perfect plan. And I'm just so thrilled to be back playing Alliance War and to not have that extra responsibility. But that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and a comment. Let me know how your experience with this global has been. Obviously, this is my first time again with this global, and it's a little interesting. It's a little weird, but that is it. Hope you enjoyed this super ass long video, and I'll see you in the next one.